to share this with everybody. We have 4 wonderful gifts for you today. Gift presentations that are queued up and ready to go for you. I know how much I'm looking forward to this, and I hope you are as well. Our theme for today's learning circle is the spirit of meaningful transitions. And I can't think of a better theme right now with all that's going on around the globe. So the spirit of meaningful transitions, I hope, will be a very valuable theme for everybody. And here's who we have to present to you today. Coming to us from Montreal, Cicero Carvalho. I hope I'm pronouncing Cicero's last name correctly. Cicero is a brilliant coach coming to us from Montreal. I'm going to talk to you about him a little bit more in just a little bit. And from right next door to Quebec, from Ontario, we've got Catherine Miller coming to us, followed by Marco Iafredi from Calgary, and another Calgarian from Alberta. We've got Ed Britton, who's also coming to us today. 4 brilliant speakers, great coaches from the IAC. Before we get to them, just one quick announcement for everybody today. I want you to mark your calendars. Mark it down and block it off from December 6th through 9th. That's a very special time for IAC every year because that's when we're hosting Quo Vadis Coaching. Quo Vadis basically means where are we going? So when we say Quo Vadis Coaching, we're asking the question, where is coaching going? We have these 4 days locked off, December 6th through 9th, where we're going to have 4 consecutive days of free webinars for everybody. The theme for this year is coaching with hope through chaos. So make sure that you mark your calendars. And if you want to get involved in that one, head on over to our website at certifiedcoach.org. That's certifiedcoach.org, and look for the events tab. You can click on that and you're off to the races. All right, I am going to stop our screen share and I want to introduce to you folks the very first presenter for today, coming to us from Montreal, Quebec, Cicero Carvalho. Cicero is passionate about human development, especially in the field of self-knowledge, soft skills, and leadership. He's the founder of Leader Art International, a Canadian company that's headquartered in Montreal, and co-founder of Mentoring Co., a consultancy specializing in mentoring that's headquartered in Shanghai, China. So this is truly an international presenter that we've got for you here this morning. Cicero has more than 20 years of experience in business and people management, working as an executive in the pharmaceutical and biotech industries. As a mentor and as a coach, he's an active member of several international organizations like the International Association of Coaching and the European Mentoring and Coaching Council, EMCC. He's a master trainer of several courses and behavioral tools. Here's a little fact that very few people know about him. Cicero is in the process of becoming a permanent deacon in the Catholic Church of Montreal. Is this true, Cicero, or am I just going on fiction here? How you doing? We'll get you to click your mute.
Yes, in fact, it's true, Terry. Yes, I'm in process for 7, 8 years to become a deacon here in Canada.
That's really cool. I didn't know that about you. This is wonderful. Welcome. And I'm looking forward to your presentation. Here it is, the importance of self-knowledge. Cicero, take it away. I'm looking forward to listening.
That's right. Thank you, Terry. Thank you for your introduction. So yes, I'm passionate about this topic, self-knowledge. And that's the reason I pick up this topic for share with our colleagues today. So here's my LinkedIn if someone wants to connect with me after our discussion. So here's the agenda. So what's self-knowledge? Probably most of the people that join us today know about this topic, but I will reinforce that. What's the benefits, some tools, and some tips to improve, okay? So in fact, when we know this, when we know or we increase or raise our self-awareness, we understand a little bit more about our values, our beliefs, our behaviors. And more than that, we can evaluate how all these beliefs, values, and behaviors can impact in the people that we interact as a coach, as a mentor, or as a leader. Okay, so this is a very important point for us as a coach, mentor, or leader to develop. So in here, I bring some benefits, if I can say that way. Of course, people can bring more than 5. We can list more than 10 or 15, I don't know how much. But here, just some 5 big topics or 5 big advantage or benefits that I pick and choose for many that I heard from leaders and coach through these last years. So, of course, when we increase our self-awareness, we start the process of self-development. We improve our awareness, our strength, and areas for improvement. We can define what really matters to my life. And this can help me to make better decisions. When I know my strength, the areas where I have limitation, when I understand what's mattered to me in my life, I for sure can do better decisions. And of course, we can help our clients to do better decisions as well. And one good thing that I capture as a benefit as well, Terry, is we can identify the patterns and behaviors, and we can behave accordingly to these patterns. Okay, so that's some of benefits that we can capture from this self-awareness. Of course, as I said before, maybe people can bring more benefits, but here just 5. That's a big box that we can think about. And here we have some tools that I believe people heard about before. People probably hear about DISC or Insight Discovery or MBTI. Every tools that came from the humoral theory, it's very important to help us to improve our self-awareness. SWOT analysis as well. So SWOT analysis is a very known tool for business development, and we can use that. I use a lot for self-awareness as well. And I bring 2 here. Maybe people is not so familiar so much. Maybe people don't know. It's the Ikigai one. It's a Chinese culture, and the Johari window. It's another one from psychology that can help us to improve our self-awareness. And one thing that I would like to point is that when we, as a coach, as a mentor, or as a leader, when we improve our self-awareness, we're capturing or covering 2 important masteries for IAC. Mastery number 2, perceiving, affirming, and expanding client potential. And mastery is number 7, helping clients set and keep clear intentions. So it's not good just for us as a mentor or as a coach. It's important because we can help our clients and improve our capabilities in these masteries from IAC, okay? So here, I just would like to explore a little bit more for 2 from these 4 tools. So one of them is the Johari window. So Johari window is 4 areas. They have 4 areas. It's an open area. That's something that I know that I behave, or people understand that I behave that way. That blind area that people understand and people see that I behave that way, but I don't realize that. Hidden area where I know that I behave that way, but people don't know. I keep this as a secret area. And unknown area. This unknown area is an area that I don't know and people don't know as well. So in here, it's the importance for receiving feedback. When we ask feedback or when we give feedback for someone, we're helping them and helping us to improve this open area. We diminish, we shrink this blind area. So when we ask or deliver feedback, we're helping these people to increase the open area. When we do, for example, a DISC assessment, insight discovery, MBTI, emotional intelligence assessment, for example, we are helping ourselves and helping our clients to improve or reduce this unknown area, okay? And this hidden area is something that I can decide if I will share with the other people or no. So this Johari window, I use so often with new clients that help me and help them to increase their self-awareness. Okay, Terry? Any questions so far? You can ask. We have time. If not, I move to Ikigai. Ikigai is from Japanese culture. I have in my hometown in Brazil, in Campo Grande, a huge colony from Okinawa people. So they use the Ikigai approach. What does Ikigai approach means? So it's 4 questions that people, they need to do by themselves or someone can ask them. So this question is, what do you love to do? What you are good doing, what you are paying for, and what the world needs. So when we ask these 4 questions for someone and they can understand what kind of task, what kind of profession they can perform, if they perform a profession that they love to do, they are good doing that, they're receiving for doing that, and the world needs that, they find their ikigai. I would like to share, for example, I use this with my son. They are joining now in the university, in the college here in Canada. And I ask him, what do you want to do? He brings some good ideas. When we scrutinize him using the Ikigai, he found the right course that he would like to perform and to do at the university level. So it's an invitation for everybody. If we can ask ourselves, what we love to do, what we are going doing, what we are paying for doing that, and what the world needs to do, so we can find our ikigai. Okay. And here I bring some tips that can help people to increase our self-awareness. So what's the important thing here? We need to keep our mind open to learn always, to ask feedback, be mindful about our strength and our weakness, find our ikigai, our reason of being, ask for feedback in order to increase our open area, and know our emotional triggers. So if we can find or we can use these tips to create new insights for you, I will be more than happy. And you that are watching us through Facebook, please type what kind of other tips you can bring to us in order to increase our self-awareness. And some reflection I would like to keep for our audience here, Terry. So is bring for conation. Conation intelligence is one of the good intelligence that we can develop. Besides the cognition, besides to affect, we have the conation. So our purpose in the life. So here's the 4 questions that I would like to share with our audience in order to reflect and get some insights. That's it, Terry.
Love it. Absolutely love it. What goal do you believe you'll be happiest achieving? What do you most need from yourself in order to achieve this goal? What do you most need from others? And who will you share your intentions with? Conation, indeed, brilliant. I want to just touch on one thing that you mentioned. You talked about Ikigai, one of my favorite topics. Ever since I found out that this came from the Okinawa area of Japan, I
Yes,
learned, Cicero, that the people of Okinawa have the longest life expectancy of anybody on the planet. And I think
that's
that
right.
that's a testament to how successful this strategy of Ikigai really is, not just in your career, but in every aspect of your life. I'm really
For sure.
happy to see that you tuned into that, and it really resonates with me. Thank you, Cicero, very much for that great presentation. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Terry.
We are now moving quickly because we've got 4 presenters, and I've got a great presenter coming to us from Flesherton, Ontario, Catherine Miller. Catherine, welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks, Terry. Thank you.
Let me give everybody a little bit of background so they know what a wonderful, wonderful presenter we've got here. Catherine Miller, the founder and facilitator of the Cafe of Well-Being, a series of interactive coaching conversations with individuals and small group participants that foster their ability to cultivate their emotional well-being from the inside out. where clients learn how to work with their minds, brains, and bodies to experience less stress. My goodness, could we all go for that right now? And become more proficient with effective, efficient practices that develop their ability to experience more vitality, clarity, and equanimity more often for longer periods of time. That's not it either. Catherine's also a certified coach with HeartMath Research Institute, with a focus on building resilience and emotional regulation through evidence informed practices, training in the professional application of positive neuroplasticity. That's the science of changing our brain for the better, and is a founding member of the Master Masteries Coach in the IAC. So she's a master coach with IAC. Here's a little fun fact for you about Catherine. Turn the clocks back to 1988. Where did you find her? You wouldn't believe it. International banking. She was in this field and she left the security of international banking and followed her heart to do a master's degree in the study of leisure. This was a 180-degree change in her ways and focus, and it commenced a meaningful transition in her way of being, and it led her to fulfilling work in life coaching. So today, Catherine's here to talk to us a little bit about cultivating emotional well-being as we steer through the winds of transition. Catherine, so great to have you. As I said, I am a huge fan of what you're talking about today. Take it away, and I am all ears.
Well, thank you, Terry. And thank you to all of you for joining us today at this learning circle. Now, let's see. The more, let's see if you can see me, but anyways, I'll carry on. So the more I thought about transitions in preparation for today, the more I began to realize and appreciate that we are in a constant transition, be it in our inner world, psychologically or physiologically, or in our outer world. We are constantly changing from one state to another. And even in our getting together today, we are in the midst of a transition. Through our interaction, each of us will leave this circle changed in some way from when we arrived. Now, transitions typically range from being really subtle, so subtle sometimes that we barely notice them, to being quite significant in our lives. But be they subtle or significant, a change we initiate or that happens to us, or some combination of all of that, transitions register with us on an emotional level. And how we are feeling while going through a transition has a big impact on how well we manage that transition. Because we can't control the emotions that come to mind, but we can choose how we relate to them. We can use both the positive and negative emotions as a guide for cultivating our emotional well-being. Because our emotions are reliable signposts. See, they point to our three basic psychological needs, and they reflect back to us whether those needs are being sufficiently met or not. I'd like to introduce a framework to you that I and my clients have found really useful. It illustrates a relationship between our needs and our emotions. But first, I'd like to give a little background. So, some of our most meaningful transitions can be some of our most challenging. They require us to stretch and grow. And when we feel that our abilities and our inner resources are sufficient for meeting and responding to those challenges, then we have a sense of emotional well-being and a sense of emotional equilibrium, you could say. But we've all had those times when aspects of a transition can overwhelm us, can throw us off balance, and we feel really quite stressed. And as a result, a cascade of responses in our brain and body ready us to fight, flee, or freeze. Now, we can ease those body sensations of stress by maybe taking some physical activity, soaking in a bath, or maybe even eating some chocolate. And these strategies, they do attend to what our body needs. But what does our brain need? Because most of our challenges are psychological rather than physical. We need to be able to work through our challenges rather than fight or flee from them. Well, and so the question again, what does our brain need to help us work through these challenges? And that's where this framework comes in. Combining psychology and neuroscience, psychologist Rick Hansen gives us a clear picture as to what our brain does need to help us maintain or regain our emotional well-being. He zeroes in on our 3 basic psychological needs and gives examples of emotions that reflect back to us whether those needs are being met or need our attention. We'll zero in on the needs first. So we need to feel safe, we need to feel satisfied, and we need to feel connected. And I'll enlarge on that a little. So in the area of safety, we need to feel we are able and effective in our life. We need to feel we can avoid harm and promote our well-being. So for example, we don't touch a hot element on a stove, and we would stay clear of maybe some difficult conversations or certain social interactions. To meet our need for satisfaction, we approach rewards like finishing a task, eating a delicious dinner, or pausing a moment to savor a sunset. And we are social beings. We do need to feel connected with others. So we attach to others in ways like texting a friend, feeling understood by someone, or doing some kindness for someone. Now, each need is linked to specific areas of regions of the brain and branches of our nervous system. And when these needs are met, these systems operate in a balanced and coherent manner. We're able to think clearly, be productive, and respond to our needs as they arise. But when one or more of our needs are not sufficiently met, our brain and nervous system become disordered. That generates stress and reactivity in us and undermines our abilities in general. And ironically, makes it more difficult for us to recognize which of our needs need our attention. But by checking in with our emotions, we have a reliable feedback on the status of our needs. I have 3 sailing pictures that can help illustrate this relationship. So imagine, if you like, putting yourself in this picture. It's a warm, sunny afternoon and you're out with a friend. The water is clear and quiet and there's a light breeze in your sails. Relaxed, yet alert to any adjusting the sails might need. You feel a sense of ease and contentment. And these emotions reflect that your needs for safety, satisfaction, and connection are well met. And through our day-to-day transitions, we feel a sense of emotional being, and we can sail along on an even keel. Some transitions stand out though, because they are more challenging and difficult. They can be exhilarating when our needs for safety, satisfaction, and connection are met. We're alert with a heightened sense of attunement. We can sense what is needed and respond to that with confidence and we feel a sense of accomplishment. But there are times, though, when the winds of transition throw us off balance. And in these situations, we're likely to feel anxious or frustrated and all alone. Now, these stressful emotions reflect that one or more of emotions are, well, you know now, our need for safety, satisfaction, and connection need some of our attention. So here's a summary of the relationship between our emotions and those three basic psychological needs. As you can see in the left column are the needs, and next to that, examples of emotions that signal that need needs some attention, it's not sufficiently met. And in the far column, examples of emotions that show that that need is met. I'll pause for a moment so you can take a look at this. And I wonder if there are emotions that resonate for you. And maybe seeing the need they are pointing to gives you a new appreciation for why you are feeling as you are at any moment on the emotional continuum, be it towards feeling happy or stressed. Now, one that stands out for me is that background trickle of grumpiness. At first, I didn't see how my grumpy feelings related to feeling psychologically unsafe. But I have come to appreciate that this is a good prompt for me to check in with my inner self-critic. Now more than often, I find it nattering away in the background of my thoughts, telling me what I should have said or done or shouldn't have said or done, chipping away at my sense of psychological safety. So this framework gives us a window into our inner world. It is a guide that can take us out of the tangle of emotions we feel when we're stressed and direct us to the root of what's really going on for us. And seeing which need or needs need our attention, we're in a much better position to do something about it. So we can then regain our sense of emotional well-being as we steer through the winds of transition. Now, you've heard a fair bit already from Cicero and myself, so we thought it would be a good opportunity to give your brain a breather. We'll take a few moments to maybe get up and stretch, take some deep breaths, and you might want to even note mentally or write down 2 or 3 things that have really stood out for you from our presentation so far. And that will help clear your mind to be able to take in what Marco and Ed will be sharing shortly. So we'll give you a couple of minutes. We'll watch the time, and Terry will let you know when it's time to resume.
Thank you, Catherine, for a wonderful presentation and great opportunity for us to reflect a little bit, put our minds to some of the great information that we've just heard, the wonderful information that we've heard, both from Cicero and from Catherine. An absolutely wonderful, wonderful tour for all of us. We're going to take you now to the other side of Canada. Going from Montreal or Quebec and Ontario, we're going to now shift our focus and put the flashlight on Alberta. And it's my pleasure to welcome to this webinar a friend, a master coach, a great guy, an overall wonderful person. Marco Iafredi, welcome and welcome to the webinar, my friend.
Thank you. It's I keep repeating this over and over and over in terms of not just being a member of the IAC, but this Canadian chapter. It is just an honor and a thrill to be with this group. When we meet monthly, it's a joy and such a contribution. And I know my chapter colleagues are probably going, here we go again, but I cannot stress how much it's just an honor and a pleasure to be with this group.
I want to brag about you for a little bit. Is that okay? Okay, let me tell you guys a little bit about Marco. 19 years experience in the wellness and human development fields. Marco's been helping individuals and organizations create high performance and healthy environments. His experience as a professional speaker, facilitator, wellness instructor, and coach, that's quite a resume, by the way, Marco, has served companies in improving culture, well-being, empowerment, and productivity. Marco has coached and trained hundreds of individuals from single working parents to CEOs of publicly traded companies. He combines engaging concepts, inspiring calls to action, and hands-on experience with truly motivated change and initiative. Let me tell you a quick fact about Marco not too many people know about. His interest in martial arts, energy, and empowerment led him to study the powerful connection between the person, energy, and environment. So Marco studied Feng Shui and became a certified practitioner. That's pretty cool, Marco. I didn't know that about you. That's fantastic.
Thank you. And it's just one of those things that's small, but it was just, again, just a love of energy, people, environment, the interconnection between things, and studied feng shui. And yeah, I don't practice, but just knowledge and information and passion all come together.
Well, you certainly pronounce it a lot better than I do. Your talk today, you're going to be talking about the empowered transition, personal
Yes.
empowerment, and using a model for transitions. Looking forward to this. Can't wait till you get into it. So let me get out of your way and take it away, Marco Iafredi.
Okay. The empowered transition. Thank you, Terry. We are, and I keep using this term over and over again, we are in surreal times. So I'm not just going to come from this from a position or a place of just sharing information and knowledge. I'm going to come from sharing my experience with transition. Right now, I am currently, I live in Canada. So we're going through the global pandemic, which is impacting the entire world. I also live in Alberta, and in an industry that is in oil and gas. So Alberta is a major oil and gas player with respect to energy. We are going through a huge change with respect to the industry itself. And my major contract is with an oil and gas company. And I was given notice that at first, October 31st, my contract would not be renewed. That's been extended to January 31st. And watching firsthand, and part of what I did at work was not only help with the mental health and well-being of individuals in the organization, but also work through with the leadership and the team, the entire workforce, through the process of transition, because People were experiencing, they're watching friends leave, some are staying. There's so many different experiences, and there's going to be a spectrum. And with change and transition, stress is going to come up, uncertainty, anxiety. And I can tell you from personal experience, there's been some sleepless nights of what's going to happen. And one of the impacts, of course, is with the pandemic, through the reorganizational restructuring, there's an impact on income to individuals and family, not only with reduced hours, but unemployment and layoffs. And now, with respect to that, there is now searching for jobs in this global environment that has higher unemployment and quote unquote more competition. With this change and stress and uncertainty, relationships are being impacted, and whether that's between partners, parents and children, siblings, relationships are having an impact, and it's going to go across that spectrum. And all in the while, and this is a thought that I've had and speaking to colleagues and friends, it's what's next. Not only what's next with the transition, but what's next with the pandemic, but what's next with respect to work and what's coming. And for some people, this is an opportunity for positive change where they go, this is a great time for me to look, reflect, and I can see what do I really want to do with my life. And others, it is causing that sense of stress and unknown. And I really want to stress the importance of the respect of the spectrum. There's going to be a spectrum of experiences that people are going to have, and to give the thoughtfulness and respect to that. And wherever we are on that spectrum, we can either look at change and transition as something that is happening to us, or it is something that I can approach, that I can come at it from that empowered perspective. And where that empowerment can start is actually starting with a framework. And this is the Bridges model of transition. And Ed and I had this wonderful conversation. Ed is going to give you a fantastic framework that he's come up with, the Not Retirement Rebel, on how to really just savor meaningful life after that post-workplace life. Just looking forward to that. And we had this discussion about the Bridges transition model, where William Bridges came up with this quite some time ago. And he goes, I don't know if this is going to last. And the power of this was, it is so strong in its simplicity that that's where the staying power comes from. It's so simple that you can just focus to getting into good work about managing not only emotions, transition, stress, all of these things. And it comes down to three things. So there's three elements to it, starting with the ending. So what is completing? The neutral zone, where we're in the space of going into a new area and there may be confusion in trying to find clarity. So that is the neutral zone. And then the new beginnings, where we're stepping into something new. And within this, as Catherine mentioned, emotions are a huge indicator barometer. And within the Bridges model, emotions are a big thing. And William Bridges has a quote. It is like, it's not so much the change that gets you, it is the emotions. And this whole model was designed to help people and leaders and organizations to know and work people through the different feelings and emotions they may experience through change and through these different zones. So just as an example, in the endings, people may be feeling shock, anger, fear, resentment. For some people, it might be excitement and peace. One of my former clients, when he was let go, they said, how are you feeling? His words were, and I quote, I'm thrilled. It opened up the new opportunity for new things to come into his life. In the neutral zone, there may be confusion, anxiety, frustration, as we're trying to find that new norm into the new beginnings, where we may be feeling excitement, energy, commitment. And I've also put confusion and a few emotions there, because it's not that, and again, honoring the spectrum of experiences and the individuality of the experience. People may be experiencing different things, and we may see some common emotions in certain stages, but it's going to be different for different people. And to really respect that sense of individuality for the process of change and transition. Now, to help people through it with this model, I came up with 4 questions, and we're actually going to start with the new beginnings. So when we are in the new beginning, where am we at? And then where are we going? And just giving some pause and reflection around that, to not only assess the emotions that you might be experiencing, but to give you some guidance and direction, some grounding to it. From there, we're going to go into the ending. So we go from the new beginnings right to the endings, and really thinking about it, there's going to be a sense of not only transition, but in some ways grieving. Something is ending. So what do I need to, or we need to let go of or complete to help facilitate that process, not only emotional transition, but the physical transition into that new beginning? And within the neutral zone, where can we get stuck? And going back to Cicero's presentation, that self-awareness is going to be really key in this area, just because we have to have that better understanding. And for myself, I can get stuck in analysis paralysis, where I can try and find too much detail and really try and figure things out. And one of the things that I've embraced recently is just this expression of, I trust that I'm being guided. And whether that is being guided by the moment or something bigger, I'll let you decide for yourself if you want to take it to something more spiritual or just in the moment of mindfulness. What it has helped me to do is let go of the thought process, so to speak, and just focus on the moment. Be there and do the actions to get unstuck, so to speak, and just to move forward. So these are some questions that you can take. And then now we come back to the new beginnings. What do I need to embrace? And our next slide is going to have the essence of what we need to embrace in terms of strengths, characters, qualities. If you stumble, make a part of the dance. And there's something very powerful in there. And I want to ask the audience just a quick question. So if a friend stumbles, how do you typically talk to that person? Just a quick thought on that. And what I found from experience is people are very gentle, kind, encouraging. Now I ask you the same question again. If you stumble, how do you talk to yourself? Just a quick thought on that. And more often than not, when I've asked those two questions, the answers are typically quite different. Kind and considerate to the friend, to ourselves, we're often much more harsh. And one quality that is essential to transition and empowerment is self-compassion. And if you're looking for some researchers, Kristen Neff and Chris Germer do incredible work in this realm. And why self-compassion is so important to transition is because it helps, there's an association with a growth mindset. So that ability to not only look at stumbling and challenges, mistakes as something that we can learn and grow from, are not the absolutes of either or, I am bad, I am good, as opposed to I have this opportunity to learn and grow from. Self-compassion and that ability to let go of the mistake that we made has a strong connection to not only the growth mindset, but an empowered transition. One of the other things that self-compassion does is it helps gives that positive self-perception. So that when we're able to let go of that quote unquote mistake that we made or that stumble, we now get to look ourselves in a better light. And one of the key distinctions into that positive self-perception, is self-compassion counters the critical self-talk. So if there's one big takeaway from self-compassion, it's countering the critical self-talk. So there's a wonderful framework. One of the exercises that you can do, and you find it quite often in self-compassion work, is the exercise we just did. How do you talk to yourself, or talk to yourself as a friend? One quick takeaway of an exercise that you can do. How do you talk to yourself? And start talking to yourself as a friend. Within self-compassion, with Kristen Neff works and Chris Germer, there's three elements to it. And the first is mindfulness, and just being aware of the moment and just saying, these are challenging times, and acknowledging them. Simple little statement to start with. The second component is common humanity. Others are experiencing this too. I am not alone, adding that piece. And the third component is the actual act of kindness itself. And just giving yourself a statement of, I need to go easy on myself. So those three components are the three elements of self-compassion from the researchers' work. One of the things about self-compassion with our next concept is it is not only integral to, but it complements. So we start building on our strengths and qualities. And now we're really talking about, when we talk about stress, change, transition, we're talking about resilience. We're talking about that ability to handle adversity effectively and recover from the challenges. So self-compassion has a huge critical component to that when we go back to that growth mindset of being able to let go of challenges, mistakes, worry, anxiety, and give ourselves that ability to navigate these challenges and start putting ourselves into that more empowered space. And some of the components of resilience. So in the mind, forgiveness. We just talked briefly about self-compassion, that ability to forgive ourselves, framing. We have this wonderful, simple framework that is very powerful, helps us process not only emotions, but gives us structure for change and transition. And not only that, but when we think about the mind, reframing, starting to give ourselves something to look at from a positive perspective. And now, with respect to focus, where can I direct my energy as someone that can empower myself through the process? Other components of resilience. And now we start talking about, so we've talked about mind, that sense of self-awareness, something bigger, the meaning piece of it. We also now have to talk about the machinery, the body. And with positive emotions and neuroplasticity, a simple little thought that we can carry with us. Positive thoughts leads to positive emotions that leads to positive adaptations. And we actually start wiring the brain for resilience, for empowerment to handle that empowered transition more effectively. And of course, the body itself, exercise has a strong connection to helping to release neurochemicals that help get us into that positive state and can help with positive adaptations. There's a lot of fantastic research on that. Nutrition, of course, fueling the body, giving it the right nutrition and energy to manage and effectively handle the changes and stress that are on the body. And sleep. Sleep is critical. One of the key distinctions with sleep is, so if you take the stress response and look at all the indicators of what a person is going through in terms of stress, and you look at sleep deprivation, they're like a crossover on one another. So sleep deprivation is like a chronic state of stress. That is something that we need to bring in. And when we start bringing all of these things in together, we start talking about fortitude. So the empowered transition is guided by fortitude. It is a combination of purpose, direction, perspective, and strength. It's knowing your why, having faith you're being guided, and knowing that these challenges can provide breakthroughs. And finally, strength isn't just courage and perseverance, it's also self-compassion.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Marco, thank you so much for this. Positive thoughts indeed. I love your Bridges transition model is fantastic. It really brings that clear view of transitions that is enormously helpful, particularly when we look at what we can let go of as we end one course, and that will create the space for what we can pick up in a new course. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, for presenting. Well, guys, I told you that we had 4 wonderful gifts for you today. And to introduce our 4th gift for you today, I've got to bring somebody into the webinar right now. And that's another great, awesome human being from Calgary. Ed Britton, welcome to the webinar.
Good to be here. I've appreciated so much what Cicero, Catherine, and Marco have said. Feels like a big introduction to what I have to say.
Yeah, some big shoes to fill for sure, but I know that you're up for the task. Here's a little bit about Ed. Ed is the not retirement rebel. I've got to repeat that, the not retirement rebel, leading a paradigm shift in our relationship with life after the workaday job has come to an end. Ed's ambition is to bring adventure, achievement, and contribution to those people who are 45 plus, you know, that age gap or that age range in there, who are determined that their greatest accomplishments are yet to come. Whether your ambition is career, family, personal development, or service, live by the motto, the best is yet to come. Here's a little fact for you about Ed. When he was young, when he was a child, he was the proud owner of a slucata tortoise and other unusual pets, including a raven chick and a robin chick, both orphans that he found near his home. He nursed all of them back to health and released them back into the wild. So caring comes very naturally for Ed. His theme today: adventure, achievement, and contribution in mid to late life. Ed, without further ado, take it away, my friend, and let's hear a little bit more about this adventure, achievement, and contribution in mid to late life.
Thank you, Terry. Yes, indeed. I am here to talk about not retirement, adventure, achievement, and contribution in mid and late life. And it's a specific case for the transitions that Cicero, Catherine, and Marco have spoken about. Not retirement is your life after you have finished the workaday routine, life after the job. What people have termed retirement for decades, with an important difference. Not retirement is for those of us who are intent on achieving what we have dreamed of all of our lives, but just haven't had the time to do it because of work and family. It's a paradigm reset for how we consider life beyond the job. Not retirement is adventure, achievement, and contribution. It's the determination that the best is yet to come. Let me share with you one of my favorite slides. Today, people retire and live mostly healthy, active lives for another 30 years. Many see this part of life not as a time to relax, but as an opportunity to make the difference we have always wanted to make, to live bigger and better. So like George Burns, who continued to work past his 100th birthday, our intention is often to speed up, not to slow down after leaving workaday life. Now, let me give some context. Traditional retirement actually isn't all that traditional. 150 years ago, it was a novel idea to actually get paid for not working. And then in the mid-1800s, a few private pensions appeared in the United States. Then governments got into the game. Pensions helped move older, less productive workers out of the labor force to make room for younger people to move in. Retirement meant that you didn't have to work anymore. Okay. But after that, things didn't get very creative. There was travel, tending the garden, golf, bridge, and bingo. And then TV came along. And then there were retirement communities like Sun City, Arizona, where they tended the garden for you and you could totter about in perpetual sunshine. This has been going on for something less than 100 years. Now, in the beginning, the retirement demographic was small and not particularly ambulatory. But now things are different. The boomer and Gen X demographic is huge, the healthiest, wealthiest, and best educated in history. And so time is ripe for a revolution. Diana Nyad is my favorite not retirement rebel. In her youth, she routinely broke women's long distance swimming records, sometimes men's. At 28, she tried and failed to swim from Cuba to Florida. Life happened And at 30, she hung up her bathing suit to live a normal life. Then, when Diana was in her 50s, her youthful dream of swimming from Cuba to Florida resurfaced. Over 100 miles across the surging Gulf Stream, poisonous jellyfish. She was almost 60 years old and hadn't swum long distances since she was 30. Sharks, but no Shark Tank. It had never been done. Some said it couldn't be done. Impossible. She tried in 2011, but currents and winds pushed her off course. Tried again 2 months later and was stung by jellyfish so ferociously she went into respiratory distress. In 2012, she was back in the water, but rocked by 2 storms and stung badly again. She tried a 5th time in 2013 and succeeded, swimming from Cuba to Florida, 110 miles in hostile waters at 64 years old. It had never been done before and has never been done since by man or woman of any age. Now, there have been many trailblazers, not retirement rebels. Takechiri Mori, world's richest man, didn't start investing until he was 55. Laura Wilder, the prolific author of the Little House on the Prairie series, first published when she was 64. Needs no introduction. Colonel Sanders sold his first franchise when he was 62. Yuichiro Miura climbed Mount Everest when he was 70, and then, just to make sure it wasn't a fluke, did it again when he was 75 and 80. Peter Roget of Roget's Thesaurus fame, first published when he was 73 years old. Anna Moses was a world leader, American folk painter. She didn't pick up a brush until she was 76. And finally, Gladys Burrell, marathon runner, ran her first marathon at 86 and completed the Honolulu Marathon when she was 92. So this is a sample of some people who have pursued their lifelong passions in later life. So now let us consider what can happen in not so traditional retirement. Some researchers wanted to know if early retirement helped to prolong life. So they studied thousands of retirees from Shell Oil Company, comparing mortality rates between those who retired at 55 with those who retired at 65. They thought retiring early would reduce various kinds of stress, improve a person's life, and increase life expectancy. It turned out that, like most of us, they guessed backwards. The early retirees, those retiring at 55, died faster, 37% faster than those who retired at 65. Disengagement is deadly. Disengagement is the virus of traditional retirement. You can't simply check out and stay healthy. We need engagement, purpose, and passion. We need not retirement. And the heart of not retirement is passion projects. Passion projects light a fire in our belly. thrust us into that space of creative instability that Catherine spoke about. There are 3 types of passion projects: adventure, achievement, and contribution. And they capture the healthy, productive engagement that make life worth living. Not only do passion projects revolutionize late life, they make contributions outside of our personal life that have outlier status and social significance. It's the best thing we have ever done. So let's get organized. Just like Marco's end, middle, beginning model for change, the not retirement movement needs a specific model for change. It will be the best thing you've ever done. The not retirement framework models passion projects of adventure, achievement, and contribution. It's based on 4 profiles and 5 ambitions. Profiles describe your current status relative to finishing workaday life. You might be a planner, planning to retire soon. A seeker recently stops the day job and wondering what's next. Overready, seriously bored, aimless, and needing to find purpose in life. Or cut loose, lost your job in some unanticipated way. Now, the ambitions drive us. The 5 ambitions are family, so being more involved and supporting. Community, engaged with the people who are close to us. A cause, we are inspired to improve a particular aspect of society on a wide scale. Personal development, we yearn to develop a talent or skill. And 5, income, providing for expenses now and in the future, or perhaps to finance another ambition. So a passion project can overlap types of ambitions. For example, let's consider you have a passion for oil painting. You want to achieve a designation as a professional artist. You want to contribute paintings to a local community organization and seek adventure with your grandchildren as you and they paint the stunning landscapes of the Rocky Mountains together. Now, you don't have to be feeling miserable or completely unmoored to reap the benefit from not retirement. Perhaps things are good and fine, just not great. You have a nagging feeling nestled in the back of your head. It's good, but it could be better. Even if it got better, what would be best? Good, better, best, even great. Your last lap, should it not be your best lap? If you're feeling like this, you are reaching for not retirement. Not retirement is to engage like never before. The best is yet to come.
Fantastic, Ed. Thank you so much. That was I would love that. Absolutely awesome. And I can relate as somebody who's in their mid-50s, my goodness. Adventure, achievement, contribution. A marathon at 92 and Mount Everest at 80? You made my day. I think there's actually hope for me.
Can you believe?
Thank you so much for that fantastic overview and great hope for all of us. We definitely will remember that motto, the best is yet to come. Folks, I also want to thank everybody here, especially our 4 presenters, Cicero, Catherine, Marco, and Ed, for presenting to us the lifelong learning webinars, The Spirit of Meaningful Transitions by the Canadian chapter of the International Association of Coaching. Just a quick reminder, Quo Vadis Coaching is coming up December 6th through 9th, free webinars. Make sure that you go to certifiedcoach.org and click on that events tab, and you can get all your registration details there. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and especially to this great Canadian chapter for your wonderful contribution today. And just so that everybody knows who we have in the group today, this is our wonderful group. Cicero Carvalho, Catherine Miller, Marco Iafredi, and Ed Britton. All of the contact details are there. You can find all of them on the IAC website, certifiedcoach.org. Thank you, everybody. I know we're a little over time. Our apologies for that. You have yourself a wonderful day, and we will see you again December 6th through 9th for Quo Vadis Coaching. Take care, everybody. Stay safe and be well. Well, somehow my camera has gone to crap, so
Great.
it's gone.
We
You
are
can't see me, can you?
stopping live broadcasting to Facebook. Now it's all your times.
All right.
All right.
Great job, you guys. Oh my goodness, what a fantastic webinar. That turned out incredibly well. We went a little overtime, but the content, the information, the presentations went really, really well. I'm impressed.
Yeah, well done, everyone.
Welcome, Bonnie and Shan. I think you guys have joined us as well.
Oh,
I see, here, I'll click on ask to unmute.
hi,
Did we
Bonnie.
stop the recording?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're-
we've stopped the,
Oh, no.
the recordings
No,
continue.
It still says it's recording.
Yeah.